Hi, I'm Mark Wybrow, and this is a very special electronic cafe, the channel for the lovers of electronic music.
And I'm Andy McNabb, so let's get started.
Walking on the sands in a foreign land. She's got a monkey on her back, got the world beneath her feet. She's got.
So welcome to a fantastic interview edition of Electronic Cafe. The guest we're meeting today, we met last year actually, and had a full interview with the fantastic James Atkin. What a great guy from EMF. And he got in touch and said, look, the band EMF are bringing out their first album for 27 years. I'd love to come and have a chat with you and Mark about it. And obviously we were chuffed to bits that you got in touch. James is one of the nicest guys you could wish to meet. We're super excited about the new material that EMF are bringing out. They are going to be touring soon. I did put some dates on our Facebook page just recently, so get out and see those guys live if you can. But sit back and relax and just enjoy the conversation that Mark and I had with James talking about the fantastic new EMF album. Enjoy.
Maybe you can put it on your show and then you can get sued. You know, the name off me.
The Electronic Cafe.
Yeah.
Walking across the ground in a unknown land. She's got grenades in her house. She's got the word on the street. She's got a can of kerosene, something and unforeseen. She's got a bad scene. She's got the grit between her teeth. She's got the heat. She's got the heat. Ready to explode. She's got the sister sinister. That's what I missed you. Looking for Lucifer. Will always be with you. No need to navigate. I hear you through the renegade radio. It's gonna blow. This is it, the final showdown. Low up, high jet fighters in the sky. Look the enemy in the eye. Pull the trigger, let it fly.
So, okay, Electronic Cafe people, we have a returning visitor, someone we loved so much meeting last year, and he's got some good news to share. We wanted to come back and tell you more. Mr. James Atkin, welcome back to the Electronic Cafe, my friend. It's great to see you again.
Thank you so much, guys. It's lovely to be back. Thank you for inviting me back on.
Well, it's no problem. We had a great chat with you last time, and a lot of people said, what a great interview, because it was just like eavesdropping on a conversation between friends, and that's exactly what we want. You know, we just want to have a chat, hear about the new stuff, and see where it goes. So thanks for coming back, and thanks for sharing your Sunday morning with us.
Oh, no problem. I'm feeling fresh and ready. It's just like hanging out with some mates on a Sunday morning.
Exactly. Like stunning new album to come, Go Sapiens. The first EMF album for 27 years, is that right? Amazing news, though. Can you tell us more about it, and how does it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, it's kind of growing into a monster that we were expecting. Obviously, me and Ian sat down, wrote some songs, and we thought, right, let's just get them out there and release them. But all of a sudden, there is interest, and you know, there's a bit of momentum, which is great. So yeah, it feels good.
It's getting some. I saw it's getting some airplay on 6 Radio 6, BBC 6, and Six Music.
Which, you know, that's quite a big thing. It's not easy to get on national radio these days, especially an older bands, and especially because we're doing it off our own back, you know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, we've got radio pluggers plugging it and how it works these days. I'm not quite sure how it does. So yeah, just the DJs playing it because they like it. That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've heard the singles. It's Sister Sandinista, brilliant single, mate. In fact, I had it in my car. I had my car with autoplay, just randomly selecting tracks, and that came on. And my 18-year-old daughter went, "Who's this?" I said, "Oh, this is the guy interview." Like, she went, "I really like this." So you got another young fan. She loved it, mate. But yeah, what can we expect from the rest of the album? Give us an idea of what our viewers can see and hear from you.
Okay, so it is 11 tracks.
Yeah.
I'd like to say all the songs were written very quickly. Certainly the majority of the album was written quickly, but me and Ian dived into a few songs that we'd written over the years, the last 27 years, in fact, because me and Ian have always been writing songs. A lot of stuff gets sort of, not binned, but shelved.
Right.
Writing the songs is never an issue. It's kind of finishing them, getting them to be played in the band and making them an EMF record. That's the hard bit. So it's like we've definitely been a bit conscious about making them upbeat, playing them, in the back of our mind, thinking, is it going to sound live? How's it going to sound live when we're on the road? So they're all kind of upbeat. Saying that, there is, there's an acoustic number on there, which we've just put to give some varied texture to the album. There's some groove-based tracks, more electronic, and then there's some proper kick-ass rock and roll songs. So yeah, it's good. I think it's an interesting album.
Let's mess it up a bit. Yeah, now we started out. Let's shake it up a bit. Yeah, now we started out. And get out of this just a little bit until it stop. Yeah, now we started out. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Sister Sandinista's got some really great electronic remixes as well, which don't take away from the song. Because sometimes remixes, they just put a drum beat onto it and a sequence bass line, and it's so far removed from the original song. But those remixes are excellent remixes. And the song Sister Sandinista, I love it, but it's got some really crunchy guitars on there. Ian's really...
it's great, isn't it? I mean, it's a proper guitar track with almost the original's just got AC/DC drums on it, like boom, crack, which is great. Simplifying stuff. We've been really simplifying stuff and just letting the songs work. I think with the remixes, why the remixes work really well is because I did one of the remixes, and obviously I'm going to keep my vocals in it, and the other guy, we had these two guys in New York rebalance the track for us and do a bit of extra production on it. Some good friends, Vladimir and Atso, over in New York. And whilst they were doing their balance, they says, "Oh, can we do a remix as well?" So obviously they kind of did it from the song that they had in front of them, all the original parts and everything. So yeah, I think there's some, me and Ian did some crazy one. We got one in the bag, which I'm going to get over to you guys because you're going to love it. I don't think I'll ever be able to use it, but I did a mashup of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, with my vocals on top of it, and then Ian redid the guitars and that, and it sounds wicked, but we're just like, what can we do with it? We can't, we're just...
Well, didn't you have some legal problems with using sound bites on the Schubert Dip album?
We did. I mean, yes. Only one, I think.
Is it the John Lennon, the Mark Chapman bit?
Yeah, which I got reminded of that the other day. Yeah, that was a bad mood. I don't know if it was a bad mood or not. It certainly got a bit of publicity. I just hope.
Well, Big Audio Dynamite used The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, so on their stuff. So you never know. It might be license free. You might have.
They used a whole 3 or 4 minute dialogue, didn't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Well, I look forward to that. That sounds amazing.
I'll get it over for you. Maybe you can put it on your show and then you can get sued.
The electronic cafe.
James, your last album, Songs of Resistance, which was, I think, number 3 in our electronic cafe albums of the year. We really loved that album, but that was a solo album for you. But I remember you saying at the time that you and Ian wrote that, and that was going to be an EMF album at the time, but then lockdown happened and various things, and Ian very kindly said, "Oh, James, just put it out there." Was there songs from that session that formed this one, or was it a totally new songwriting session? And
I think, because I sat down and wrote some songs, and then Ian helped me develop some songs. And it was going to be an EMF album, you're right, but I got frustrated because things just weren't happening. And I says to Ian, let me just put it out and I'll do it. Yeah. It doesn't sound like an EMF record because I've done it electronically, where this one's slightly different, totally different because it's more guitars and live drums. But I don't think There may have been, I don't think there was any songs from that. There's certainly some songs. There was an album before where there was a song called Stay Classy San Diego. I think I might call it San Diego, which was always an Ian song, but I stole it and used it. And then Ian played it to me whilst we were getting ideas for this one. He goes, "Oh, this is great. We should use this." So I was going, I don't know if I think he must know that I've already used it, but it's completely different.
What's the song Between Friends?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, me and Ian are just, we get on fine.
What do you say? They took your passport and they locked it away from the silver and the blue of the waves. Put the sweat clothes on her head to LA. It's been a real long day. Stay classy San Diego. We dancing on the table.
So when you was writing this album, are you conscious of the fact that if it's an EMF album, it's got to have the kind of DNA of previous stuff, even though you're bringing it forward, 27 years, bringing it up to date? Are you kind of conscious of the fact that it's got to sound like EMF album?
You know what? I just think it naturally comes. Once you got Ian's guitar in and me singing on it, I think it just, Ian's guitar in is the key to making it sound EMF. And also the way he structures songs, because he's really good at, obviously he's a great songwriter, and he's really good at structuring pop songs.
Yeah.
I will be happy having a 32-bar intro because, I love dance music. I love, grooves, where Ian will be chop, 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 chop. So the way songs are structured, I think, makes it sound EMF. And bridges and choruses and that traditional songwriting formula that Ian brings to it.
Yeah, I think.
But yeah, I think actually it just gets there.
I think you're right, actually, because even Sister Sandinista, or going back to Stigma or Schubert Dip or Cha Cha Cha, there was the dancey loops, but the EMF thing was the big catchy chorus.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you've kind of retained that in your new stuff. So I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I think so. Yeah.
And mate, I know you that I've seen on your website. There's a few small gigs. Is there any sort of more playing gigs in the UK for the rest of the year beyond the few dates you got?
Well, we're just doing those 4 dates to around the release of the album, which is London the 8th of April, then Bedford the 9th. Bristol 10th, Huddersfield the 11th, and then after that it's festivals. So we've got quite a few nice little festivals like Camp Festival.
Yeah.
There's one in the Midlands. There's Westworld, which is Spirit Destiny's festival. There's like a handful. It's almost every weekend, which is kind of. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm scared about going on tour for 4 days. I mean. I've done 27 years, so it's like,
you'll be fine. We'll be in London. We'll see you in London, mate. Definitely cheer you on. But that'd be great. And great. So the festival sounds like a really good thing. Be awesome.
I'll be all right in London because that's the first day. I was more worried about what I'm going to be like in Huddersfield. Maybe don't come to that one.
Where did you write and record the album, James? Was it in your space there, or did you? Yeah.
So during lockdown, I put a folder. I'd like to say I put a cassette together, but I put a folder together of a bunch of tunes, sent them down to Ian, and I says, "Look, I want to do a new EMF album." He was great. He listened to them. He goes, "Oh, these are brilliant." Then I went down to Ian's. We developed them, wrote a few together, and then Ian came up here to Yorkshire Dales quite a bit. Ian lives in London.
Right.
Did a little bit of tour throw in. And then I'd come up with one on my own, then Ian would come up with one on his own. And we kind of got the album. It was a really strange process. We were kind of making the record as we were writing the songs. So we did a lot of programmed drums, even though they were live sounding drums.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we kind of sat back a bit and go, right, is this suitable to put out? And then that's when we kind of started putting some live instruments. And we found an amazing studio, which it's about 20 minutes from my house in the next valley.
Wow.
I didn't even know existed. So we got a good friend to come up and do all the drum takes for us. We rehearsed in my house first because we've got a bit of space here. So yeah, it was no hassle whatsoever. There was nothing grief about it, which is brilliant.
Well, I saw your rehearsal last night. You streamed a rehearsal last night, it's already sounding excellent. It's and I guess that's just through just a standard microphone on a phone or something, and it's still sounding good. So really looking forward to hearing the songs live.
Thanks, Mark. We have worked really hard. I mean, the last couple of days we worked really hard going through them and pulling them all together. Do you know what? I wish, in hindsight, because we played the album, it sounds amazing. There's so many things you're listening to now, and you've kind of arranged it in the room to work with a live band. And we were thinking, I mean, the album sounds great, but I'd like to have done the album now. Going into the studio, recording it, live performance all the way through. But you can't have everything, and we wouldn't have got to that stage if we hadn't done the stage before.
Exactly.
I mean, when we used to write songs and rehearse, we used to come up with a new song just before a gig, and Andy, being impetuous as he is, was like, "We got to play it," and you're frantically trying to learn that song for that gig. But we found that over the coming months, years, that song kind of changed. By playing it live, it kind of evolved into something slightly different. So even though you record it and you're happy, us anyway, we're happy with it at the time, when you play it live, it becomes a slightly different monster and it changes into something else.
Yeah, it does. And it's quite an old-fashioned thing that now, because I remember when EMF started, those first 10 songs, we'd gone out and gigged them loads before we'd recorded them. And I think, but now I don't know. I think bands just go in and write in the studio, don't they? And maybe... And
I guess they just replicate it live and it doesn't evolve too much. And
I guess bigger bands, if they are going to go out and do gigs and stuff like that, the fans are going to be a little bit upset if you're trying out 10 new songs, you know what I mean? So you've got to mix
it. You've got to try and mix it a little bit, haven't you, mate? I mean, going back to your youth, and I don't know if we covered this when we last met, but what was that epiphany moment for you that made you think, music is to be your life? Sort of what happened when you was a young lad? What happened to make you go, right, this is what I want to do, mate?
Yeah, I mean, my nan gave me a load of old 45s, the ones where the holes were missing out in the middle. So
I remember those.
Boxes, and they were like really dodgy records, like Cliff Richard and I think Jonathan King. Everyone's Gone to the Moon. I think was that.
Oh yeah,
really,
that was him. Yeah,
50s, and it's really weird. I used to kind of just close my eyes and get lost in the music, and I used to imagine myself performing it. I know that's really sad. And then if anyone would break my concentration, I'd have to start it again from the beginning. And, just that real obsession. And then, it took me a while to find cool music. I remember my dad bought me a Slade album and I played it to death. And then my brother, 5 years older, a real hippie, and he was into stuff like Planet Gong and Frank Zappa and really accessible music. But a few things I picked up, this is like, in the 70s, listening to Queen albums and stuff like that. So I think that was my real getting my grips onto it. And then, of course, becoming a young teenager, finding my own music and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. I think my mum, dad, when I got my first cassette recorder, my first album was a Slade album. My mum and dad bought me a Slade album. But they bought me Slade in Flame album, which I just thought, how old must I have been at the time? I guess about 11, I suppose. And I thought, why have they bought me a Slade album? But even like now, there's some great songs on that album. Yeah. How does it feel? And they're not your typical Slade songs, but I think that's one of my only good musical things from my parents.
They're a pretty good foot stomping band, to be honest.
So James, the song was written by you and Ian. You produced it yourself as well.
Yes.
How did that differ from back in the day when you did 3 big albums in 4 years and you worked with producers and stuff? I'm gathering that the treadmill of the early days is quite demanding, and it's probably nicer to work at your own pace and to produce it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, back then we didn't really have the know-how how to produce it, and also you'd go into like a big studio with an SSL desk, and it was like science, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you'd have to have a producer, you'd have to have a tape op, you'd have to have like an engineer. Really expensive, I mean, back then it was 500 quid a day, and that was like 28, 30 years ago. So
yeah.
That's why their studios aren't around. Well, I guess they are, but it's probably for the the Coldplays and the Adeles, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's certainly it's been great. I loved producing the record ourselves. We were ready to do it, obviously doing all those solo albums and Ian going off and doing all his stuff, and we've honed our crafts, hopefully, and felt confident enough to do it. And the confidence thing was a big thing. We'd do it and go, well, does that sound okay? What do mix engineers do? What's the magic? You know what I mean? But by the time we got it mastered, it sounded fine. And the album, it's a true EMF album because we wrote it, we played the instruments on it, we produced it, we mixed it. The day we sent it off, we did all the artwork ourselves with someone, and it's great. It's like a proper, it's our band. Yeah. Before it was, you always relied on people, and it was always everyone's having a little bit of input, weren't they? So,
and it's coming out on vinyl. So
yeah, that was a ball out getting the vinyls into production. It took.
I can imagine.
We really rushed it through. So we mastered it last October. And then it's been an 8-month wait for the vinyls to come.
Oh, mate, I know. Totally understand where you're coming from, mate.
It is, isn't it? I mean, especially when everything else is so instant.
Yeah, we're used to it now, aren't we?
So it was like, right, okay, so what do we do? But, it seems like we've been really busy. I was thinking, all right, Ian, whilst that's doing that, we'll write another album. We have.
You can't stop now, mate. You're on a roll.
Bygones be bygones, lest we forget. Try and take the high ground, try to forget. Pick yourself up now. What's that you said? Pick yourself up now. Go check your head. There's something wrong with your equilibrium. Delirium was taking control again.
And so is it going to be like more EMF stuff? I think you just mentioned there might be potentially another album coming. So, it's going to be more EMF material coming than James Atkin, or are you just going to see how this goes and take it from there? Is there any plan?
No, I think we're definitely going to do some more EMF stuff.
Brilliant.
And we've learned a lot from doing this one ourselves.
Yeah.
Harking back to what I said earlier, I think this time we're going to get the songs and we're going to sit in this room and we're going to play them out live and thrash them out and make them sound proper.
Amazing. Oh, mate, amazing.
So Go Sapiens it's a proper full band live album, effectively, isn't it? I mean,
it's a bit of a mix, to be honest with you. It's I'll be totally honest, it's me and Ian.
Right.
Like Ian played the bass on it, and I played the guitar on some of the tracks. Some of the more electronic tracks are programmed drums, and then we had got a really good friend, Aid, who's coming in to do the live stuff with us. He came in the studio and put some grooves down. He's a great drummer, really musical. So yeah, it's a strange one. It sounds live and like EMF, but the process was a little bit more controlled in the studio.
Well, 1st of April, it's not too far away.
No. Next
week. Come around quick enough.
That's really quick. So can I just ask you a couple of questions about EMF, just generally speaking?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, have you any musical ambitions left to fulfill? I mean, I guess that what you achieved with EMF was stellar. I mean, I don't know if there was anything you still wish that you would...
No, I think we just want to put some records out there. I mean, we've got no illusions. I don't think the world is waiting for an EMF record. we've kind of done it for our own gratification and just to please our fans a little bit. I mean, it's meaning and certainly not sitting there going, oh, this is going to sell 1 million copies. We just know that ain't the reality. I would love, my main ambition at the moment is to make enough money from this album just to leave in the bank account to pay for the next album.
Nice.
Not even making any profit or anything, because it's cost us quite a lot to do this record, you know, all the pressing the vinyl, getting the artwork done, you know, marketing and stuff like that. So it's not, we need to sell enough records to cover costs. I know that sounds really sad, but you know, we just want to be able to do what we love. And
there's nothing wrong in that. And I'm guessing you can see, I'm hoping the reaction you've had from Advance, you can see the orders coming that you're thinking that it's going the right way, because obviously I imagine a lot of people are welcome to hear a bit of great news for the band that hasn't done an album for quite some time to be doing this. I mean, look at Tears for Fears. I mean, everywhere I look, they're on every press release, and it's their first album in, I think, 13 years. So to have a new EMF album after 27 years, it's a lot to be celebrated. You know, it's great.
Thank you.
Sister Sandinista is a very positive song. If you listen to it, it's just what people need these days, I think.
Yeah, I was slightly concerned because when I cut the video up, because we're very much in house doing it all ourselves, I didn't realise that it was going to be a bloody a war going on, and then the potential of a third world war. You know, so it was some of the imagery I was a little bit concerned about, because there was some bit of military stuff going on in that. So in hindsight, I wish I'd made a bit more of a loving peace video.
As you say, hindsight's a thing, but this is going to happen so quickly. But we won't go into this is a happy interview, and we'll keep it that way. I totally hear what you're saying, mate. Totally.
Yeah.
So James, I read in the week a funny story that you said about Robert Smith.
Robert Smith, yeah. It all comes back to haunt me, this. Yeah, so I did, well, I had a bit of, Robert Smith confronted me because someone had said something bad about him in the press from my band. And I was mortified because I love Robert Smith, honestly. And that might be the epitome of me, actually. Hearing The Cure, that first Cure album, then that wanted me to make music.
Nice.
It's haunted me for all these years that I upset one of my heroes.
And you've apologised for Robert now, haven't you?
Yeah, I bet he doesn't care at all. You know what I mean? I'm not expecting any forgiveness, even if
you're being very diplomatic.
Yeah.
That's another band bringing another album out actually this year. I think they've got a new album due out this year as well. So that's all.
The Interview, yeah. He's got the name of the album. He hasn't finished the songs yet, has he? I wonder how much input the other members of the band have in The Cure. I thought it was just Robert Smith anyway, but
yeah.
Well, I've just read the Lowell Tolhurst book.
Oh yeah.
Which is quite an interesting read. I mean, obviously it's from his perspective, but there's no illusion that The Cure is driven by the mind of Robert Smith. So he hasn't really done them wrong over 30 years, I don't think.
No.
They're still a massive band.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Making me feel like I won a bingo. I'm John Paul Judge and especially Ringo. I'm banging on the drum and I'm talking the lingo. You gotta keep it coming, gotta keep it coming. You're talking me up like I'm one of the greats now. I'm Gene Kelly, getting hot on the makeup. It's flowing down with rain and I'm feeling the pain now. Gotta keep it coming, gotta keep it coming.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, mate, can't wait to hear the new album. Though. Super excited about that. Brilliant about the tour. It's all looking good for you, mate.
Yeah, I'm feeling positive. I mean, it's all really good. I don't know how excited I am. I had a tough week last week. It was because we released the record. I don't know what it is. When you don't do anything, no one really gives a damn. But as soon as you start doing stuff, you kind of open yourself up. And there was like a few trolls on Facebook and stuff like that. And I was
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was batting off stuff, and I was thinking, what's going on here? It's like, this is really weird, and then and it kind of affected me a little bit. And I was thinking, wow, if I was a young teenage band starting off, or even a young girl band, I mean, those girls from Little Mix, how much shit they must get on the internet.
I know.
Yeah, I think
I never had that 27 years ago because we didn't have computers, did we?
No, well, you're right. The world has changed, mate. It's social media. I mean, unfortunately, you do get the odd idiot. It's just, I'm sure it's outweighed by all the love you get, though. Hopefully,
it is. But you're honing on that little one comment.
It's so true, actually. Yeah, even we get the odd one or two. You just kind of go, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, if you look at what you've done and what you're doing, James, it's just like you got a phenomenal career, legacy, and music, and then you got somebody that hasn't done anything apart from tapping away at their keyboard with a snarky comment, and you've really just got to kind of okay.
Yeah, I've got.
I mean, when we first started doing this, I used to take it a little bit personal, and I used to want to have to. I felt I had to address it. But like now I just think, what's the point?
I think that's the worst thing you can do, isn't it? Just don't give it any oxygen. It's like all those people who comment when they're watching Glastonbury from at home in their living room about why are they playing? They shouldn't play. It's just like not a bloody festival, and you can turn your telly off.
Exactly. No, exactly. I'm sorry to hear you got a few idiots out there, but unfortunately they're everywhere in life, sadly. But I know you're going to feel a lot of love when you start playing live again. Because I mean, you've got a huge fan base anyway, but this is bringing in new fans. Like my daughter in that single, we keep bringing in new fans. Great, you've got a lot of positivity, which is brilliant. So don't let the idiots get you down, mate.
You got 2 weeks to build yourself up.
I'm already feeling better. I'm feeling better. It just took me by surprise a little bit because I hadn't experienced it. But now, even a week after, I'm just like, right, okay, this is
exactly.
Yeah. It's just, it's just. You just got to move on, mate, and be the bigger man, which you are. So, but we're super excited.
Talking tricks, and you turned into a habit that I just can't kick. Now you say the dark is coming soon, and you think that there's nothing you can do. Can't you hear the wolves are howling at the moon? I wanna stay up all night, 'cause I'm feeling.
So look, we'll come and see you soon to play live, and it's really lovely to see you again, mate. It really is. And look, when you're in London, we like to buy dinner for our guests, so we'd love to take you out for a beer and a proper lunch or dinner or something when you have the time.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, I'll be in London in a few weeks, but if you do want to come down on Sunday,
love to.
Welcome.
Yeah, that'd be really good. I'll drop you a message.
Yeah.
Well, in the next day or two.
Do that.
I think our wives hold the key to the diary, so
I'll definitely come to the Water Rats though next Sunday. 100%.
Yeah, that'd be really good. James, thank you very much for your time this morning. I hope it didn't take up too much of it. I know you're a very busy man at the moment. Everything's building up for the release of Go Sapiens, which is sounding fantastic. I'm looking forward to hearing. Good luck for the album. Good luck for the shows. We'll hopefully see you next week anyway, but really great what you're doing and we're loving it. So thanks for everything, James.
Not a problem, guys. I love chatting to you. You are very good and it's an amazing podcast. You've got a great vibe going on. So
thank you, mate.
Great. And I'll send you a copy down on vinyl when I get them, when they turn up.
I've already pre-ordered, buddy.
Yeah, I've ordered it already.
Yeah. We're able to help the kick break even, mate. But it's very kind of you.
You say that.
100%. No, look, we're fans, so we'll support you any way we can. So no, we've already pre-ordered. So that'd be brilliant. So you can't wait to get them. If you want to put your signature, I'd love it. But that's all I'd ask. If you could.
Right. Thanks, guys.
James, thanks. Have a good day and good luck next few weeks.
See you later, man.
Cheers. Bye.
It's all so
So that's it for another episode of the Electronic Cafe. I hope you enjoyed our chat with the fabulous James Atkin. What a great guy. Brilliant news about EMF, with the new album. Get a copy if you can, pre-order it on their website, absolutely worth buying, and try and get to see them live. But I say thanks again, James, for spending the Sunday morning with Mark and I. We thoroughly enjoyed it, as we always do with you, buddy. So thanks again. Mark and I look forward to seeing all of you on the next episode of the Electronic Cafe. Stick with us. We're hoping to make some very big announcements soon. We've had one massive one already with Wolfgang, and obviously James coming on the show as well. Got some big news to bring to you shortly, I hope. We are working flat out to bring some more amazing people, and just as important, more great new music for you to get your ears into. So on that, I'll say thank you again. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time on the Electronic Cafe. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks again, James. That was absolutely brilliant, mate. Thank you. Thanks again for watching. See you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.